call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Ateba Gautier takes on Robert Valentin this Saturday on the prelims of UFC 318. And this is a good test for both of these guys. I think this is a step up in competition for both of them in their UFC careers. You know, Ateba Gautier coming in off of his UFC debut win with a knockout over Jose Medina. Granite chin on the guy, hard to get out of there. And Jose Medina put him out in the first round, coming in off of a second round finish over Naito in his Dana White's Contender Series fight. Robert Valentin came in off of the Ultimate Fighter, won both of his fights in order to fight for the championship against Ryan Loder. Lost that fight by ground and pound in the second round. Then got another shot against Torres Finney in what could be the worst fight I've ever seen in the UFC. He was just kind of held on the ground, held against the cage en route to losing that fight by split decision. You can argue he won just based off of damage, but it is what it is. I'm surprised that they didn't cut Torres Finney after that fight, but he's on a 2-fight losing streak, whereas Ateba Gautier hasn't lost since 2022. He is on a 6-fight winning streak, all by finish. So Ateba Gautier, 23 years old, which is crazy. The dude looks like he's 32, but 6'4", 81-inch reach, huge for the middleweight division, huge in general, very powerful, former Sambo champion. Big, strong, extremely powerful on the feet. Good takedown defense. You know, like I said, he has a Sambo background, but can end the fight at any second on the feet. You know, he's got boxing, he's got head kicks. Just very dangerous. This guy, I think he's going to be a menace in the middleweight division. Robert Valentin, 30 years old, 6'2", with a 77-inch reach, so he's going to be 2 inches shorter, giving up 4 inches in reach. He does have the experience edge, almost has double the pro fights of Gautier. Just doesn't have a lot of, obviously a lot of momentum right now. Has been kind of 50-50 in his career, you know. Had some few losses on the regional scene, would go on a little bit of a run, get on the Ultimate Fighter, but now obviously 0-2 in the UFC. Just fought in April against Torres Finney. Didn't take any damage other than just getting laid on, so getting right back in there looking to get his first win. But you know, he throws powerful straight punches to get to the clinch, get his takedowns, really good submissions, good ground and pound with elbows, pushes forward with good pressure, good pace, good front kicks. We saw on the Ultimate Fighter, you know, he KO'd Giannis Bakar as he was coming in with the elbow, got the armbar against Paddy McCrory. So he does have a lot of finishing potential. A lot of finishes on his record: 1 KO loss, a knee bar loss, ground and pound, and then the split decision. But pretty well-rounded guy, and you know, he's exciting. He puts on really good fights. But I'm gonna have to go with Gautier in this one. You know, I can't ignore the size of Ateba Gautier and just the repercussions coming your way when he's throwing hands. I think he'll be able to keep it on the feet with the Sambo and just get a lot of respect to keep Valentin at bay, not letting him crash in, not letting him get the takedowns. I think if he does get the clinch and gets a hold of him, I think he'll be able to keep it on the feet and just start lighting up Robert Valentin on the feet, who again, you know, has been knocked out. He can be finished. Even if he does get Ateba Gautier to the ground, he's one of those guys that, you know, even without the Sambo background, he's just so big and so explosive. He's going to be hard to keep on the ground. He's going to be hard to sub. He can always just kind of just reverse you on the ground and get on top, and that's not a guy that you want to have on top of you. And one thing I did notice, and I don't really know if I should be calling this out, but he had a regional fight against Pietro Panini where he got hit a couple times in the back of the head. The elbows, it was kind of like a single leg scenario, and he was landing elbows to the side of the head, and then he landed a couple to the back of the head, and the ref stepped in. And it was just one of those instances where I feel like Robert Valentin wanted a way out. And you know, you can always tell because you feel like they're kind of like being dramatic about it and really putting on a performance, so to speak, about how bad they're hurt. And it's just like you can tell when people are doing that, because it's like guys will get knocked out cold and they don't do that. They're not acting like they don't know where they're at. They're not acting like they can't stand or they can't see straight, you know, and that's what I saw from him. So it just makes me wonder about his, you know, his tenacity and kind of what's he gonna do if and when he's getting rocked by somebody like Ateba Gautier. You know, the same thing in the Ryan Loder fight. I think he hurt his elbow, but again, Ryan Loder hurt it, but he got pinned on the ground, couldn't move. And it's just like, I feel like he finds himself in these situations where he gives up, you know, and maybe that's a hot take, but that's the way that I saw it in that fight on the regional scene. And it's hard for me to pick somebody like that going up against an absolute monster like Ateba Gautier, who again, you know, he's almost undefeated. What is he, 7-1? lost by split decision on the regional scene back in it, the early days of his career when he was 20 years old, but hasn't lost since then. So I'm going to go with Ateba Gautier. I think he gets this one done by KO or TKO. Thanks.